Hey guys, it's Melvin7 here, and today I'm your host for Stretty News TV. And we're discussing that press conference from Louis Van Gaal as well as the preview for the Copa America, oh my god, the Club America game that's coming up. But that press conference was something else. But anyway, before we get into that, we're going to introduce the panel. We've got a great panel on today. First up, we've got Nate, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Nate from Arizona. Happy to be on.
Good to have you. And next up, we've got Sean.
Hey, how you doing? Sean Miller, New Jersey, Manchester.
Yeah, a lot of Americans on the show today. And last but not least, we've got Tamzid.
Hey, I'm Tamzid. I'm from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, see, all over the world, as always with Straight News. But anyway, let's get into the breaking news from that press conference. And Louis Van Gaal's all but confirmed Victor Valdez will be sold because he doesn't fit in with his philosophy. He refused to train with the second team, so he's basically said, look, that's it, you're out. That's why he didn't fly on the tour. So, what are your views on that, Nate?
To be honest, I'm a bit shocked at that. I was thinking, probably along with a lot of others, that we were definitely going to see him playing next season, possibly even as our #1 keeper. So it's good to see LVG, though, being honest with the press and trying to put to bed some of the rumors that are going on. I think Valdez played well in that last game, made some great saves, dropped a few balls, came in across, but that's not a big deal. I think he would find his feet and get going, but no longer, I guess. I guess we'll see what's going to happen with De Gea now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's a bigger chance of him staying now because there's rumours of us going after Romero, I don't know how you say it, the Argentinian goalkeeper, for a free transfer who will probably replace Valdez. So, getting 2 goalkeepers this summer might be a bit of a push, so I can see us keeping him. But do you agree with me? Or do you think De Gea's off as well as Valdez, Sean?
No, I think it looks more and more likely like De Gea is going to stay. There were some reports today that they're going to let him leave on a free next year. I think Romero had a pretty good Copa America tournament. He's with Lazio. And he would be good. It just seems like now, last year when everyone was kind of saying, why isn't Valdez playing? Why isn't Valdez playing? Even though De Gea was playing well, you thought maybe he was going to get a run out sometime last year, and I guess that's why he didn't play. He just kind of was acting up for the spring season, and he just didn't get a chance until De Gea got hurt. So it looks like hopefully if De Gea stays, maybe after a couple months, maybe puts pen to paper a new contract.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be renewed hope now that he will, because losing Valdez, as I say, I just can't see us getting 2 new goalkeepers. I think 1 is a certainty, but it's just such shocking news. Like, it's just not something you would expect Valdez to do. He seems such a professional. Do you agree, Tamzid, or are you not as shocked as me? And what are your thoughts on De Gea as well?
I don't think I'm as shocked as everyone on here, or people may be very shocked, but I don't think he's the type of player who wanted to play second fiddle to a starting goalkeeper. I think he came in with the aspirations to be the starter, and I think he expected David De Gea to be in Madrid by now. So that's kind of played a part in it too as well. And I guess he kind of felt like insulted that he was being asked to play with the under-21s. Falcao had to do it. I don't see why he couldn't do it, considering he just came back from a serious injury. So to gain back his fitness, he had to play. And under-21 reserves isn't that bad, and he should have played when he was asked to. And in regards to De Gea, I think a lot depends on whether Real Madrid do still want to meet Ed Woodward's demands. If they want to put Ramos in along with the bid or the deal, and they can make it happen. If not, De Gea can stay another year, and because Manchester United doesn't really need the money, so they can just keep De Gea for another year and make sure they try and see if they can challenge for titles on all fronts.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was a good analysis of that. So, forgetting Valdez now, another player that didn't join the tour that, kind of surprised a lot of people is Rafael as well. And he basically all but confirmed he's leaving as well. So, he also said that Valencia would be competing with Darmian for that right back spot. So, Rafael is basically gone as well. is that a bit of a disappointment, or do you think his time's over, or do you think he deserved another chance? We'll come to you first, Nate.
As far as Raphael, I am not necessarily surprised at that. Obviously, he didn't play much last season, even when he was healthy. And then Valencia, obviously not a right back, and was quite frustrating at times. But his statistics weren't the worst across the Premier League. So I think LVG was happy to keep him, but obviously the long-term plan wasn't to have him in place. I'm excited to see Darmian. I'm interested to see what he does, how he reacts in the Premier League, and then also how he fits in with that back four. Hopefully we'll see a new center back or two, and we'll be finally back challenging again like we used to.
Yeah, I definitely think we are close, and obviously with the signing of Darmian, that means that we've got a default right back, and we don't have to rely on Valencia having to play that fill-in role, which he did well, admittedly, considering he is not a right back. But still, we did need a default right back now that Raphael, for some reason, is going. So do you agree with that, Sean? Do you think that it was inevitable that Raphael would go, or do you think he did deserve another chance? Because I think at the start of the season he did all right, and up until the injury, I didn't really see a problem. But obviously, Louis van Gaal did.
Yeah, I think at the beginning or at the middle of the season, when we just didn't see him for the rest of the year, I think the writing was on the wall. So obviously they signed Darmian, and I know Van Gaal said in the press conference that he's going to have to compete with Valencia, but I think he has to say that. Obviously, I think everyone. I think all the fans think that he's going to come in and win the spot. I mean, obviously he has to say it's an open competition, but I would expect him to win that spot and hopefully lock down that position. And being that he can play on the other side and a little center back, I think as well. I think he's kind of one of those versatile players that Van Gaal likes. So I think he's definitely going to get the benefit of the doubt to play.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that versatility point. I mean, from what I've read, obviously I haven't seen a great deal apart from in the World Cup, but he can play in numerous positions: right back, left back, centre back, right mid, etc. So yeah, he definitely fits in with Louis van Gaal's philosophy. But are you disappointed to see Raphael go Tamzid, or did you think it's just one of those things? Time's up.
It's definitely disappointing to see Raphael go because he has a lot of potential, but he never really achieved what he should have with those because he's been a liability with his injuries. He's had 26, 27 injuries since he's been at the club. So I mean, it's been time to move on. We saw that last season. His time was up when he was fit and he couldn't really get into the team, and it was frustrating to watch Valencia play at times because he's really not a fullback and he really doesn't have that tactical nuance while going forward. So it was definitely frustrating to watch Valencia play, and I'm glad we have a right back that can play with the brain and that is actually a defense-first right back that could actually defend. So it'll be interesting to see how Van Gaal employs him, but I'm excited to see Darmian. I think he's going to be one of those cream of the crop signings that's going to be under the radar, but also going to be very successful for us.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. He's definitely going to be under the radar, which will hopefully help him, but I think he's definitely going to be a good signing for us, and I do expect big things from him, but it's going to be all right because he's got so many other players that the spotlight's off him effectively. So yeah, I think he will do very well because of that. So we'll move on to a final thing about Louis van Gaal's press conference in terms of confirming whether players are leaving and staying. And this one's a big one. It's Di Maria. There's been several reports from France in particular saying that he's agreed a deal with PSG, that he's going to sign, etc. But according to Louis van Gaal, when asked about his future, he said, "We shall see. It's a process, and he'll join us on the 25th of July. That much is for certain." He also said not to invent stories to a reporter. That was pretty funny. And he went, "But that's okay. It's not my problem." So, it seems as though, according to Louis van Gaal, he will at least join I don't know if he'll join the tour, but he's training on the 25th. So that's good news. And apparently these reports are false. So, yeah, do you agree with me? Do you think that's good news, Nate? Or do you think we've got too many players now and maybe we have to get rid of someone? Or do you think Di Maria deserves a second season?
I'd definitely like to see Di Maria back next season. I think it's a must. I mean, Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin, even Depay, getting these guys is amazing, but I think losing Di Maria is definitely a step or even two back. You know, so much news of him being a flop. It just wasn't true. He had a great season in assists. He had the injury. He had the personal problems, and all that just kind of knocked away at his confidence, obviously, and we saw it. But now coming into this season, and even with his comments at the Copa saying, you know, he's excited to be back. Usually he struggles in the first year wherever he's at, but then he kind of gets it together, and you see the real Di Maria. I think all of us saw those comments and were excited to know that he was ready to come back and fight again, and hopefully we could see the real Di Maria. As far as LVG's comments, it seems like, it's sad to say it, but it seems like he's going to be off. I mean, I would have liked him to say, hey, we're excited to have him back on the 25th. It looked like he said he was coming out on the tour, so that last match maybe we'll get to see him play if some deal is not already finalized for him to go somewhere else. So I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping he stays because with this new squad and especially with that midfield lockdown like we have it now, I think Di Maria will have the freedom to roam, not LVG's favorite word when it comes to his philosophy, but seeing that chipped goal, seeing some of the things Di Maria did when he's running with the ball, even at the Copa, it's so much fun to watch. So hopefully he stays. I don't think he will, but I hope I'm seriously wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he will go. I generally don't. I can't see us getting rid of a world-class player like him. The only way I could see him doing it is if, like Valdez, for whatever reason, he doesn't agree with Louis van Gaal and Louis van Gaal wants him out. But I don't think that will happen. I think Di Maria now will look at our midfield options and be like, yeah, that's a lot of the defensive work, which is what he struggled with. And maybe now I can push forward a little bit more, do what I'm good at, do what I do for Argentina when I've got players like Mascherano covering me, etc. And I think he'd be better as a winger. So I really, really hope, along with Champions League, that he will stay. But what are your views on this, Sean? Do you agree with me, or do you think he might be off?
No, I definitely agree with you. You know, a little concerning hearing some of this stuff today. Obviously, PSG wanted him last year, and I'm sure they still do. You know, players like Di Maria are world class, and obviously you're going to be wanted by teams all over the place. You know, even if you have a contract. So it's not surprising to hear that PSG wants him. You know, I guess if Di Maria asked to leave, I would think they'd probably get rid of him. But you know, if he doesn't ask to leave, I think he'll stay. And I mean, look, if he's healthy this year, he's going to tear the league up with our lineup. Like you said, with the defensive players that we have in, and some of the guys that are going to hold in midfield. You know, him and you know Depay, and these guys are going to tear up the league this year. And you know, I'd love him to stay because he's world class. And you know, when you have players like him on your team, it's easier to get guys to come in. You know, you got world-class guys in every position, and players want to play with world-class players. So, you know, hopefully he stays. But you know, I guess, you know, if he has to leave and PSG says, hey, listen, we'll give you, you know, what you paid for him, I think, you know, he could be off.
Yeah, that was a good analysis, to be honest. But I do think that we're not going to let him go, and if we were to, it would be like Real Madrid and Bale, for instance, saying that they want either equal or more than what we paid. There's no way we're going to let him go for less, in my opinion, because then that'll be like a failed transfer. And Di Maria himself, I don't think he'll want to go down as a BPL failure. Even though his season wasn't as bad as people make out, still, if he was sold this season, then he would go down as a bit of a flop, a failure, you know, as the record transfer fee, which would be a bit disappointing. So I don't think he will go. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Tamsid? Again, do you agree with people who think that he will stay, or do you think he's going?
I think he's definitely staying. It's a no-brainer to keep him for next season because foreign players, when they come to the EPL, it takes them some time to get used to the pace, the physicality, and you could see that towards the end of the season he was struggling. But the way he started the season, it was phenomenal. So you can definitely see he's a world-class player. He has that quality. He just needs a bit of time to be able to bed into LVG's system and be able to play in the EPL. So I'm confident that he's going to stay. PSG can push as much as they want. He has a contract, and I don't think Manchester United are going to be willing to sell. And I think he'll stay and he'll be a success for next season.
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll stay, and I definitely think he will be a success if he does stay. So anyway, moving on to new signings, the tour, etc. We've got a lot of excitement to look forward to, and yeah, the first question I'm going to ask you is: are you looking forward to the tour like me? I definitely am, but is it just one of those things that is just happening and you want the season to start, or do you think it'll be really interesting, Nate?
I think it's going to be really interesting on a number of reasons. One, with our new players, I'm incredibly excited to see Schweinsteiger, see Schneiderlin, to watch Darmian, a real right back, play right back, and then obviously, hopefully Depay can do what he does, charge forward, score goals, and kind of get some of that excitement back leading into the season. For me personally, I love it because they're here in the States. They're close to where I'm at. I've been trying to work on getting out to any matches, but it just hasn't happened. So it's just exciting to know they're here. And, of course, it just means we're closer to August 8th. So I got that date marked on my calendar, and I'm ready to see how LVG uses his new players. But more than that is how do they all blend together. And hopefully we can see some of that in the preseason. It can be tough, obviously, but I think if any of the managers can do it, LVG can bring these guys together the quickest, and hopefully we can get out of the gates quicker this season than we did last season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last season we won all the games in the tour and then screwed it all up at Swansea. But in fairness, we'd only made, 2 signings, I think, just Herrera and Shaw, whereas now we've got 4, and they are quality signings at this. So, yeah, do you agree, Sean? Are you looking forward to it, or, again, do you just think it's a waste of time?
No, I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to it every year. I mean, they've come over here for a lot over the last 4 or 5 years. So I'm excited to see. But I'm coming to Manchester from August 5th to September 1st. So I'm gonna go to the first. I'm gonna be there for the Spurs match, Aston Villa away. I'm gonna go Champions League away, Champions League home, Swansea away, and Newcastle. So for me, I mean, I just want it to be August 5th already, so the season comes. But it's going to be good. They play Club America on Friday night, and it's Club America they lost to the LA Galaxy 2-1. They beat San Jose 2-1. So it's probably going to be a decent test for some of our fitness, and some of these other games. Obviously, the Barcelona game is going to be a marquee game for us. The PSG match in Chicago, where they try to play every year for the sponsors. So it'll be good. I think it's better they're playing closer together this year. The 3 games on the West Coast, Chicago, and then kind of getting back because the season starts so early this year. So I think that'll be good. But it's good. It'll be good to see them play Friday night.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and yeah, I do agree though. Obviously, you want the season to start to prove that these signings are good, etc. But this is always a good time to see them, and yeah, do you agree, Tamsin? You looking forward to it? All 3 of us are, so I presume you are. But are you?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. I'm really pumped for football to be back. Actually, it's like we've gone through such a long stretch without any games, and it's like exciting for the preseason games to be back. The other thing is there are a lot of individual storylines and personal storylines that's going on with the preseason games. You want to see if the new players are able to bet into the new system, how Schweinsteiger plays, how LVG will employ Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin, Herrera, or Mata. So you want to see how these players play in midfield, how that works out. You want to see what formation he's going to try out. So there's a lot of personal storylines, and there are a lot of things that we can get a feel of before the actual battle begins. So definitely excited for the preseason games, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well wrapped up. Yeah, we definitely will. And linked into that, obviously everyone's excited about the new signings, but another thing you've got to remember is there's a lot of youngsters going on this tour and a few that haven't played. So yeah, my next question is there any players you're looking forward to from the youth setup to seeing playing, and do you think there's anyone that's going to shine from the youth? We'll start with you, Nate.
Sure. I'm kind of excited to see Wilson. Obviously, watching him progress, getting to score some goals under Giggs, and then getting a few chances under LVG last year. I mean, hoping to see him really come on. I'll be interested to see if he goes out on loan at all. It may depend on if we sign a striker or if Chicharito ends up staying. and isn't sold or isn't loaned out again for another season or something like that. But I'm interested to see Wilson. I'm also interested to see Pereira after he signed his contract and he's staying on, which I'm very excited about. I think I'd like to see him have an opportunity up there, kind of like we did last summer as well. I think he came on and was able to play a bit. But now he's grown, obviously played in the Under-21 World Cup and was able to really do some stuff, or the Under-19, I'm sorry. But now we've got those guys, as well as like Sam Johnstone, good keeper. He stayed on. So there is some youngsters. Hopefully we can see them do some things and really prove to LVG that keeping with the youth and that philosophy is important, keeping those guys in the squad, on the bench, giving them their debuts when it's time, things like that. Really things that make Manchester United Manchester United. I'm hoping we really get to see a lot of that this summer, and then we get to see it kind of move forward. There's going to be a lot of competition this year. We're in for all 4 trophies, so we might as well see who can play and who's going to be ready to step up.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of the things that the Tour does best, bringing through youngsters who you've never really seen, because they're non-competitive games, so there's not really a lot to play for, so you've got a lot of trial and error, I suppose, and we've definitely seen some youngsters come through this season, and I don't think that'll be any different. Maybe a few less, because we've got a lot more quality now, but we're definitely going to keep in with Manchester United's philosophies. That's Louis van Gaal's main philosophy as well, so he's not going to stop with that one. So yeah, Sean, anyone you're excited to see?
Yeah, I'll give you 2. I mean, first is Pereira, obviously, down at the U20 World Cup in New Zealand, he scored 2 goals, kind of 2 assists. The coach didn't start. He started a couple games, brought him off early. He didn't start the final. He came on and scored the wonder goal to tie the game, to send it to extra time where they lost in penalties. So, I think that he could play as a 10 or an 11 for United. Behind striker, I think he would be pretty good. And he's young, 19 years old. When he re-signed, or when he signed that contract to stay, I think it was a big deal last year when after Pogba had left and some of these other guys decided to go. I mean, him deciding to stay and sign that contract when PSG was so clearly coming after him, I think that was big. He's definitely going to be a talent. And the other guy is Jesse Lingard. Last year at in the opening game, the Swansea match. It was on my birthday. That's how I remember. We lost 2-1, but he started that game, and 35 minutes in, he does his knee ligaments, and next thing you know, he's kind of behind the 8 ball, and then he doesn't play for anything. He goes on loan and did pretty well. I'm excited to see him play. I think he could help the team, it was a whole process to try to get back into the squad, and now with some of these other guys, you got Depay here and everything. It'll be interesting, but I think he could, playing in the 4 competitions, I think he's gonna help the team this year.
Yeah, I agree, and it was a bit unlucky because he did score the last goal against Liverpool, I think, in the pre-season, Jesse Lingard, if I'm right, and then that early injury was a massive blow for him, especially in his career, but he's got another chance this year. So yeah, do you agree with Pereira and Lingard, or are there any others as well, Tamsin, that you are excited to see?
I'm excited to see how Januzaj responds after Depay is being brought in this summer. He definitely took a step back last season under LVG. Under Moyes, he was phenomenal. We saw a lot of what he could do and a lot of his potential, but last season he didn't really live up to a lot of the expectations that was put on him. So Januzaj definitely want to see how he responds with Depay coming in. Also, we'll have to see how Depay adapts to the new environment, new club, and new system, because he's been a star for PSV, and now he comes into a club and he's not the only star here. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds. A lot of people are expecting him to be the starter right away, but I don't think that's going to be the case, because he's going to be competing against Ashley Young, who's been really good last season, and Di Maria for the same position. So it would be interesting to see how LVG uses both Depay and Januzaj, and how both of them develop going through this preseason and into next season as well.
Yeah, definitely. That is a good point about the, I suppose, squad congestion, kind of like how Louis van Gaal's going to manage that. But I'm sure, like the fans, he's going to prefer having too many players then not enough considering the amount of injuries we got last season. So I'm going to ask one final question about the players, kind of, and that is, if you had to pick 2 players who you're most excited to see, who would they be? We'll start with you, Nate.
Sure. 2 players I'm most excited to see. I think one has to be Depay, after what he did last year in the Dutch League. Even watching him in the World Cup last summer, he was electric when he had the opportunity to be, and he had some room to kind of run and roam a bit, like we like to see Di Maria do when he was at the World Cup. So I'm hoping LVG is kind of envisioning that for him, so we can kind of see that. I'd like to see him score some of those free kicks again and do that. I think the other person I'm most excited to see is Schweinsteiger/Schneiderlin. I think we've been waiting for a midfield for forever. It seems like we've just been dying for it, and now finally we decide to fix it in a weekend. So I'm super excited to see them, how they work in front of whoever the back four is going to be, especially those center backs. Hopefully it gives our attacking players, Mata, Rooney, Depay, Di Maria, all these guys, the opportunity to really push forward as opposed to having to hang back because we're unsure what our center backs are going to do when things are coming at them. So the Schweini, Schneiderlin combo, as well as Depay, I know I threw a third one in, but those 2 guys in midfield, they got me really excited.
Asked for 2 and he gave me 3. I'm surprised he didn't give me more, to be honest, because I would have found this question difficult. But we'll focus on Schweidelin, I suppose. We'll merge the 2 because that's what most people are doing. But they would be my 2 as well for obvious reasons. 2, 3, they're the same thing. Let's be honest. Anyway, we're going to move over to you, Sean. Are they yours as well, or do you have anyone else?
Well, obviously Memphis Depay. Last year, I had the pleasure and opportunity to go and cover the Ajax PSV match in August, and Ajax had won the league 4 years in a row, and this rash young team comes in here led by Memphis Depay, and they tore Ajax apart, and they ended up winning the league. They were 15 points ahead by December, and led all by Depay. I mean, player of the year in the league, and everything he did in the World Cup and all his pace. I think he's going to be a big-time player for this team. I mean, it might not be right out of the gate, but at some point this kid is going to be a phenomenal player. The other player I'm going to say, he's been with the team a while, but Wayne Rooney. This year, I mean, last year he didn't score a lot of goals. He dropped to midfield. He's playing holding midfield, and I think everybody's eyes kind of rolled when we would see the lineup come out, and Rooney's playing in, as a holding midfielder, and you keep dropping deeper when we need a goal. And hopefully this year he doesn't have to do that, and he can be at the top of in a 4-3-3 or at the top in a 4-2-3-1, whatever they decide to play. But I think with these guys outside and the defense, and Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger and Carrick and Herrera and these guys in the middle of the field, he doesn't have to worry about that. He can just stay up top and score some goals. I'm expecting 20 plus goals from him, especially with these 4 competitions that we're going to be in. And I think this is the year. I mean, he's got to come back, and if United are going to win the title, he's got to score 20, 25, 30 goals, in all competitions to keep United in everything. So that's who I think.
Yeah, good pick, to be honest, because obviously it was annoying seeing him in that CDM role. He did well against Newcastle for his first one where he scored 2, but after that, not really. And I don't think he'll ever dip back into that midfield at this present time, which is good to see. I think the furthest he'll go is number 10, where he does do quite well. So any further, I don't think there's much chance of that. So I can see him, honestly, scoring 20, 25, maybe even 30 goals this season, because he will be number 1. He's captain, so good choice, by the way. So Tamsin, do you have any other players, or are they similar players to what we've said?
2 players I would be excited to watch for next season. It would be Darmian. I've already mentioned this before. It would be nice to watch a fullback who can actually play defense and also can attack as well. So he's an exciting signing for us in terms of being the that we didn't have last season. So that would be exciting. He's been Italy's best player for the past 3 years. So he's a very good player to watch out for next season to be a success. The other player that I would be looking out for is Ander Herrera. Van Gaal didn't really warm up to him at the start of the season, and then he definitely proved that he belongs in the team. His goal scoring record has been impeccable from scoring goals from midfield. So with Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger and Carrick in midfield being able to protect the back four and allowing Herrera to buzz around and Mata to play a little bit more with freedom, I'm excited to see what they can do with their passing abilities in between the lines and with their ability to create in the final third as well. So those two players I'm really excited to see next season.
Yeah, I'm glad we got a lot of players in there, to be honest. I thought everyone would say, the obvious ones, but we did, I think, 5, 6 players, which is pretty good. So, yeah, the very last question for today is going to be about the tour. Which game are you looking forward to seeing the most? So we'll start with you, Nate. There's 4, obviously. Well, there might be 1 in the final, but we don't know who we'll get if we get there. So, yeah, which of the 4?
Yeah, I think I'm most excited to see us play against PSG. I mean, Barcelona should be good. Messi's not going to be back, but they're always a good test, even in preseason. But I think playing against PSG is interesting. They've obviously got some big names, and obviously with us being linked with some of their players, them being linked with Di Maria, it just kind of adds another level of intrigue to the match itself. So as far as preseason games go, I know LVG said he's doing 45 and 45 for the first couple of matches, and then 60 minutes and 30 for the other 2. So it seems like he's got a plan already. So it's not necessarily we're going to see a certain team out for most of the match against PSG. But I think by the time we play PSG, we're going to have a pretty good idea about some of these guys, how they play, how LVG's philosophy is looking on these players with the new players, and then as well as, we scored a ton of goals last preseason and then couldn't find the net except for Rooney's little overhead kick in that first match against Swansea. So it was really frustrating. So I'm hoping that this year we can kind of translate that with a solid midfield. So I'm excited to see the PSG match and excited to see what's going on with Di Maria.
Yeah, good choice and good reasons, to be honest. You backed that up quite well. So, we'll move straight on to you, Sean. What's your favourite game? Well, which game are you looking forward to the most?
Anytime you can play the European champions, it's always a test. Obviously, the Barcelona game. Last time they played Barcelona after Barcelona was the European champions, they played in 2011 in Washington, D.C. And Barcelona had just beaten United 3-1 in the Champions League final, and United came in and beat them 2-1 in front of about 97,000 people. The atmosphere was great. I think Tom Cleverley might have scored a goal in that game, dominating the Barcelona midfield. So I think that game is going to be played in I think at Levi Stadium in San Francisco. It's a brand new, gorgeous stadium, and they may not have Messi, they may not have a couple players, but obviously anytime you can play against a team like Barcelona, it's obviously a test, and I think it'll be a good test at the I think it's the 3rd game, I believe, right? So it's a see how well we're doing on tour, and I think it's about 10 or 11 days from the season opener. So obviously players are going to be getting some playing, maybe a little more playing time in that game. So we'll see.
Yeah, obviously that is a huge game. And it will be very interesting because by then they'll have played a few games, well, a couple, so yeah, we'll see what happens. But Tamsi, what game are you looking forward to the most?
Like Sean, I'm looking forward to the Barca game as well. I think for different reasons. It's because LVG's style and system kind of mirrors what Barca does as well, like the possession football and the tiki-taka passing, short passing, and keeping possession football. So it'll be interesting to see how they shape up against Barcelona and how their style of football shapes up against Barca's high-intensity, high-tempo offense in the preseason game. So it'll be interesting to see that, and I'm looking forward to that. It should be a good game. It should be a full house. So, preseason games are, you can't really judge a performance by preseason game. We saw that last season We won all the preseason games and came back to lose the first Premier League game. So you can't really judge it by that, but I'm really excited to see what LVG puts forward over the preseason games.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm going to go with a different team from all you, and I'm going to say Club America, simply because it's the first one, and we'll get to see all the new signings, etc., and we'll get to see United back. I mean, what more do you want? Manchester United, can't wait. So, yeah, we're going to finish this off now, but before we do, tell everyone your social media links, etc., where they can find you. So, yeah, Nate, Twitter, etc.
You guys can find me at Nathaniel Hyatt. It's my name, or at Nate MUFC. I'm always on there. And then I've got my blog, WordPress.com. So you guys can jump on there and see what I'm talking about.
All right. Now you, Sean, Twitter and any other things?
Yeah, I'm at the Prodigal Sean. And I write for NJ.com, the Trenton Times, Hunterdon County Democrat, Newark Star Ledger. So you can NJ.com/Times. You can find me there most of the time.
Seem to be a lot of United blogs. That's how big we are. So yeah, Tamsi, do you got any blogs, or is it just Twitter?
Yeah, I got my Twitter, and I write for MUFC Latest News as well. So you can find me there. I actually wrote an article today that we could lose both Valdez and De Gea, so that'll be interesting. So go check that out. And you can find me on Twitter at TomZeed90. So there I am.
Yeah, thanks. And my Twitter is at Melvin7, and also I've got YouTube, Melvin7 again, where I upload Manchester United reviews, etc., as well as FIFA gameplay. So yeah, hopefully you have enjoyed. We can't wait for the tour. I bet you can't either. So yeah, thanks to the fantastic panel again, and see you.
Thank you.